Yes, welcome to the No State Project, live from the Fortified Compound in Southern California. Sam Bernardino, glad to be with you here. Live, of course, on LRN.FM, the Liberty Radio Network. I am sorry, I will not be streaming the show live on my YouTube channel, although I guess I could. I mean, I wouldn't be able to get calls. I wouldn't be able to do the callers. So, but I guess what we could do is, you know what? I'm not going to. Should I? Maybe I should. What we'll do here is I'll try to do at least a segment on my YouTube channel, let everybody know that we'll try to do it there just for now. Let's see if we got that. Do we have it? See if we can get this. Is it finally going? I guess. Well, all right. I think we're going live now here. I do apologize. I do apologize for this. I really apologize because it's telling me I have to do it this way. But I'm going to stream the first segment here. I guess we can just stream the first segment here, and we'll do it there. There we go. We'll try to just do the first segment so that you know that. Tune in to LRN.FM, the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM, and then you can hear the broadcast there. I won't be able to do my callers like I usually do, so I'm going to be taking calls today, but I can't do that with the YouTube stream. You won't be able to hear the callers, so just tune into LRN.FM after this particular segment, and we'll do the show there. If you want to join me here on the big broadcast, it's 218-632-9399, 218-632-9399. The passcode, of course, is 2020 with the pound sign. It's 2020 with the hashtag, and we can get you in. You can also Skype me at Frank Rizzo 3. Let's see, we got that going there. Yeah, Frank Rizzo 3. For the big broadcast there. My webcam actually died, so yeah. But this is actually pretty cool to be doing it this way. Not nearly as much setting up that I have to do there, but a number of things to get to. It has been a really, really bad week for deaths. It started off, I didn't even know the guy's name, but I thought he was a great character on The Office. Hugh Dane, unfortunately, passed away on May 16th. I just found out about it a couple of days ago. It's really, really unfortunate that he passed. I don't know. You probably, I can't do something like that here today. I know if I'm streaming, I get I can get a copyright strike, so I don't want that to happen. So I'm not going to do. But Hugh Dane played Hank on The Office. He was the security guard. He passed away on the 16th of May. He was, I guess, he was 75 years old. And just yesterday, it was kind of a coincidence, I guess. But we watched the Crime Aid episode on The Office, where Hank is singing "Me and the Blues." So if I had a guitar here today, I would have treated everybody to me covering Hank's "Me and the Blues" or "Me and the Blues." So check that out if you have not familiar with that. Unfortunately, too, at age 60, only 61, Anthony Bourdain, who I thought was great. I used to love watching his show. It's been a little while since I've seen it, but it really sucks. Anthony Bourdain committed suicide. He was found yesterday. Because on June 8th. Today is actually June 9th. I didn't announce that when I started the show. So really, rest in peace. I mean, that's just terrible, terrible news. It was a great show, you know. Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations, The Layover, and he was also did a small segment on CNN called Parts Unknown. So rest in peace, Anthony Bourdain. And if that wasn't bad enough. Jeez. I just found out late yesterday that Danny Kirwan died, who was the third guitar player for Fleetwood Mac, and he was also a singer and songwriter. I just, you know, and so he was born in 1950, so I guess he was right around 68 years old. So, yeah, I'm actually streaming part, so... yeah,
I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
It's I figured I would stream the first segment.
You want this one?
Yeah, that's that's good. That's good. The camera actually, the phone actually works pretty good for that.
Me and the blues.
Yeah, me and the blues. So, but speaking of the blues, Danny Kirwan was one hell of a blues player. So if you're not familiar with the golden era, I think the golden era of Fleetwood Mac. Of course, from 1967 to 1970, Danny Kirwan was the third guitar player there, and so he also sings. So I posted one of the videos on my Facebook page where you've got Danny playing and singing one of his Like It This Way. It's actually the one where Danny breaks a string, which is good. It's really good. So because the very next song that they played, Peter Green did "World Keeps Turning," which was just Peter Green and his Les Paul, and man, does he make that thing sing! But check it out, and also Danny was part of that epic jam, 24-minute long Rattlesnake Shake, just a great talent. Just another victim of drugs. He lasted a bit longer in Fleetwood Mac than Peter Green, but the drugs definitely took its toll on him. And so, rest in peace, Danny Kirwan. I mean, just great talent. It's really unfortunate. It's a very sad story to what happened to him. He got fired because of alcoholism and drug use. He wound up smashing his Les Paul while on tour. I don't remember exactly where that was, but unfortunately he spent, after a number of years of doing some solo work, he wound up being homeless for a while, not doing too well. So it really is unfortunate, but very, very good player. So, and that's why I mentioned something Rattlesnake Shake, because if you listen to Rattlesnake Shake, it's 24-minute jam. And so what they did with this one was they put another one from Then Play On, they put a Danny Kirwan instrumental in there before then they finished the last 6 minutes, which is just a fantastic high-end jam. So really very sad. Also, we're going to be getting to the end of the segment here, so I guess I'll wait for but I do have 2 success stories that I mentioned. I didn't have the opportunity to get those posted, but 2 success stories, which is really great. And there was also a question that I needed to address that I started to on the Wednesday broadcast when my webcam decided to, I guess the correct term is morte. It just decided to die, which, what can you do? That kind of sucked. But I will be getting a new webcam. I got it being shipped, so it'll be here. So the question had to do with working with people with the IRS and tax issues, where what happens with the issue of jurisdiction if you are accepting benefits or have accepted benefits in the past. So I am up against the break. If you want to join me, it's 218-632-9399, 218-632-9399. The passcode is 2020 with the #, or 2020 with the hashtag, and Frank Rizzo 3 on Skype. But don't just call, instant message me first. Yes, welcome back to the No State Project here on LRN.FM. Sorry we're not streaming live anymore on my YouTube channel, but we got a lot of callers to get to, so I want to get to them in just a moment. But I do have I was question from Rob, and I do appreciate the support of the show for Rob, his continued support, and Eyal of No State Project Israel. Really do appreciate the continued support of the show, especially since I had to get a new webcam. My webcam did die, and that is why I am not streaming the show live on my YouTube channel anymore, because, hey, I don't know how to work it so that you can get the callers on the phone. So I probably could just have speakers hooked up, but that would sound like crap, and I wouldn't get a very good recording. So that's why we're not doing it that way. But the question was regarding if I'm working with somebody, or somebody wants to work with me, and they have IRS issues or tax issues, and they've accepted benefits in the past, and whether it's bankruptcy or unemployment, stuff like that. And I think it depends on the situation. I know you don't have a choice. I don't think it necessarily proves that there is jurisdiction. I don't see how that is even remotely possible. But I think what it does is, especially if you've had a bankruptcy, I think what it does is it's going to be taken that you don't have any standing to raise that issue. That when it comes to personal jurisdiction, that you don't have standing to raise that, and that personal jurisdiction can be waived. So I think that's the issue there. The other thing, it could be that somebody could lose their benefit. So, or they, not that it's ever happened, they could look in and say, look, you filed a bankruptcy. Did you do it on the false pretenses, and maybe try to prosecute that way? So it's more of trying to avoid that, but it hasn't come up. So it's something that needs to be kept in mind. If you're doing it on principle, but you don't have any other way, you got to make a choice there. So most of the time it's not an issue, but I think it's more of you're waiving your right, or you're waiving standing to make that particular challenge, and that's the way it would probably go down. So I'm hoping I have got the caller line. I tested everything, so I'm going to see. We'll find out now if everything's going to work correctly and go, the callers will go the way it's supposed to go. So he's been on the show before. I know we missed him for the Wednesday broadcast, which did not happen. But welcome back to the show, Edwin in Georgia.
Hello.
Yes, you're on the show. What can we do for you today?
Hey, Mark, how you doing? This is Lawrence. From Georgia.
Okay, I got the wrong number, the wrong name in there. Lawrence, what can I do for you today? You got good news?
Yeah, it's kind of breaking up, and I'm just going to manage it. The line is breaking up off and on. Yeah, I have this issue right here, Mark. It's an issue of DUI accused. It's a situation where I was with a friend, and then we went for some kind of a graduation party, and on our way back, he went off at the light at the stop sign. So he got to the red light, and he was tired because he left work and he had no rest. And then he decided to go out and have some fun. So on his way home, he was so tired at the red light and he went to sleep. And so while sitting there for a while, I think someone called the police and said there was a car sitting in the middle of the road. And so they came, asked him a couple of questions, and he said, yeah, he went out for fun, and he had a bottle. So they impounded his car, and then they put him in jail, and he came out by signature bond, and he had a date coming up, which is supposed to be in court. So with this situation right here, I'm just calling to ask, like, how do we approach this kind of a situation?
Well, he wasn't actually driving at the time, though, right?
At the time, yeah, the car was stationary, and he went to sleep, and they just came, knocked at his window, pulled him out, pulled his blood from him after listening to him. He said he was out and he had some fun and he has been at work and tired. So he's trying to make his way home and the car was not driving at the time. So they took some blood from him and, put him in jail, impounded the car. So that's the situation. And they told him strictly that he should make sure he comes with a lawyer and that he's supposed to get a lawyer and it's compulsory.
Well, it's better that he wasn't actually in control of the vehicle. I mean, they consider that if you're in the front seat and the keys are there, they consider that driving as far as the statute goes. But it's a lot better, I think, to defend against something like that than when you actually are physically controlling the vehicle and driving down, because you are endangering people, and that shouldn't be done. I tell everyone the same damn thing. It's very easy to avoid a DUI. Don't drink, period. Do your body a favor, your liver and your pancreas a favor. Don't drink. Drinking is just terrible on the body. So I'll discuss that with Tom from the Big D when we get him on the line here. I would do it the same. You still are being charged. He's being charged with a code violation. So I would challenge the jurisdiction, and also that there isn't sufficient evidence to even set forth a prima facie case, because they're making an assumption on the basic element of jurisdiction. And I would have put in also put in there a request for an order to have the automobile returned. I mean, he doesn't have the car anymore, right?
Yeah, he's trying to. I think they are charging him about $400 to get the car out right now.
Yeah, I would challenge it on the grounds that the police didn't have evidence of jurisdiction to order the taking of the property. So I would do the two. That's and of course the discovery request, and maybe do it on an order to show cause against the prosecution.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to get, some kind of insight on how to get initiated and go about how to attack it. But I thought about the jurisdiction challenge. Yeah, and but I think this is the case of them forcing him that he is supposed to. It's a compulsory thing for him to get a lawyer, and I told him that wasn't true. Yeah, so. With that being said, Mark, we just
just hold tight. We're up against the break. My name is Mark Stevens. You're listening to the No State Project here on LRN.FM, the Liberty Radio Network. We'll be back with your calls in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Yes, welcome back to the No State Project here on LRN.FM for June 9th, 2018, from the Fortified Compound in San Bernardino, California. Glad to be with you here. You want to join me on a big show? It is 218-632-9399. 218-632-9399. The passcode is 2020 with the pound sign. I want to get back to, I think it was Lawrence in Georgia. So what we were talking about before the break is how to go about, defending against this. And I was mentioning that I would not only file a motion to dismiss showing that the prosecution's claims are not supported by sufficient or not supported by any evidence. I'd have the discovery request, and I'd also put in a motion to order the release of the automobile since the police can't show any evidence of jurisdiction.
Okay. Yes, Mark. Okay, so that's basically what I thought in the first place, though. Actually, the case is coming up on the 25th or 26th of this month. So I'll go ahead with that, and I'll keep you posted how it goes on. So we'll get in touch with you probably off air to get the copy of the motions.
Okay. And it comes with instructions, and I would suggest that he do some role playing, because we cannot rely on the motion to dismiss being granted. Most of the success we have had, like these success stories I'll mention later, because the groundwork for the fence is laid out in the motion to dismiss, but most of the time it is not granted. And so we still have to prep as if we are going to court. So definitely get into the Skype role playing on contact me at Frank Rizzo 3 and I can get you in there, or I can get him in there and he can start doing it.
Yeah, I personally requested that for myself, and then I'm still waiting on you to get me in a group or activate it. I'm still looking forward to that, and I'll highly appreciate that.
Okay, well, contact me after, contact me off air, and we'll get you in there.
Okay, Mark. Thank you so much, and thank you for all you are doing, sir.
Oh, you're very welcome. I appreciate the call. All right, let's see what we got over here. See what he's got for us today. Tom from the Big D, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Mark. You're breaking up real bad on my end here in the phone. The other gentleman caller I just heard just now, I heard everything he said perfectly, so if it gets real choppy, we'll have to end it. Anyway, and the last caller also, he sounded just like the guy I work with, Jamaican guy. I really liked him. Anyway, I have a question for you.
Well, real quick, hold that thought for just a second. I want everyone to let me know who's listening to the stream if they're having problems, if I'm not coming in clear, if I'm breaking up. I know that my recording is not breaking up, because I can see that. But let me know on the Skype chat if there's a problem with my audio. Okay, so what was your question?
Okay, I'm going to try it again. The audio from my end for you, like everything was broken up. But I have a question. You don't have a problem with purchasing private insurance, like health insurance, car insurance, medical insurance, or anything like that, right?
Not at all.
Okay. Well, the beginning of the show here, you were talking about unemployment. Now, unemployment is, granted, it's stolen from my employer. It's forced to be paid. So if I lose my job, which I have, I just recently lost my job, and it was a mutual decision, actually. I don't blame them for ending my position. It was actually my suggestion, which was stupid. But anyway, so I am collecting unemployment right now. I paid into that insurance. What is the problem with collecting it?
I don't have a problem with that. With the question that Rob had asked me is if it could be used against you, and I think it can be. It hasn't ever been an issue at this point, and I agree with you. There's absolutely no disputing what you just said, that it's compulsory. You have absolutely no choice. You do it or you can't. I mean, it's compulsory. I put it out there that it's possible, if under those conditions, or if it's recent, that they could try to use it against you as far as that you're waiving any challenge to standing. It's never happened, but I think it's something that is very possible somebody could try to do that, and I think we could defeat that anyway. It's compulsory, and you're just getting back what they've stolen from you all these years.
Well, I got most of what you said, but not everything. So I appreciate what you're saying, and it is. I mean, I look at it like this: I paid into it, and I'll be damned if I'm not going to use it if I need it. But I'm going to end this call now because I can't really hear what you're saying, Mark. You have a good day.
Hey, appreciate the call, Tom. And I know Tom could probably hear off air what I was saying, and so just so because Tom's not on the air right now. I agree. It is unemployment is definitely compulsory, and you're getting back. And you can look at it the same way as Social Security. They're stealing the money from you every single time you get paid. So, I mean, there was even a politician recently that expressed some indignation that another politician was referring to Social Security as an entitlement, and using it as a pejorative, and that then they point out that Social Security is money that is stolen from you, and getting it back is that inconsistent? Some might think so. No, I don't think so. I agree with Tom here that I don't see the issue. It's just the issue being they could try to use that crap, and try to use it against you. I mean, look, they're going to do whatever they can to try to defeat the challenge, because the only thing they can do is to turn around and say they don't have to prove that. Well, that is the definition of bad faith, isn't it? To say that I can make claims against you and I don't need evidence. And if you think that I'm wrong, then you're the one who requires evidence. That is just not how things work with logic and fairness and even due process. You have to have the proof. And so even in the tax context, like what we're talking about, don't let anyone kid you. Even the courts, as corrupt as they are, they get some of the principles right that are consistent with fairness and traditional notions of fair play and substantial justice. The IRS does not get a presumption of correctness just because they do an assessment. Just because they say X, Y, Z, that doesn't automatically, as far as the legal principles are involved, give them a automatic presumption of correctness, and therefore then the burden shifts to the victim. No. The only way they have a presumption of correctness that then shifts the burden is if it's based on facts. And if they're assuming the most important facts, then they don't get a presumption of correctness. And we've had them in court where the judges, despite the admission from the IRS themselves, the IRS actually, not us necessarily, all we're doing is quoting the IRS agent or district counsel admitting they have no evidence, showing them that they're not entitled to a presumption of correctness, and the judges refuse to strip them. They just won't do it because that's not what judges are there to do. They're not there to go against the IRS. We'll be back with your calls and more in just a few moments. It's 218-632-9399, 218-632-9399. We'll be back with your calls in just a moment, so don't go away. Yes, welcome back to the No State Project, live. San Bernardino, California over here. Yeah, glad to be with you. I will be live on the Wednesday broadcast, provided I have my new webcam. But I got notification that it shipped today, so we'll see. Maybe that'll clear up the issue that I had with the OBS, and I could use the OBS again and be able to put banners and stuff up. But anyway, I do appreciate everyone tuning in to the big show today. And you can join me at 218-632-9399, 218-632-9399. And speaking of Niner, it looks like we've got somebody from the San Bernardino area calling for the first time. So we'll unmute them. We got area code 909. You're live on the No State Project. What part of Southern California are you calling from?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. Where are you calling from? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Mark, this is Mad Mike Hughes. I'm calling from Apple Valley, California.
Apple Valley?
Yeah, I'm up here in the high desert, kind of between Victorville and Lucerne Valley. I'm 3 hours from Las Vegas. Oh,
man, I got to tell you, not my favorite place. It's like finally getting to Victorville, and I'm like, oh, geez, I'm still 2.5 hours outside of Vegas. What was your name again? I'm sorry, I missed. Mad what?
Yeah, Mad Mike Hughes. I'm the guy that launched the rocket 2.5 months ago.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm the guy that self-built a rocket in his garage to launch it. I'm running for governor of California. I've got 4 common law claim suits, and I'm enough, good enough for 3 people. But Mark, I'm having trouble with the traffic situation. I cannot get anywhere in traffic court. They're running over me like a train.
Well, what are you being charged with?
Well, initially I didn't even know what it was. I mean, they just drag you in, of course. And I listen to several people. You're one of them, and some other people on the internet. And I've tried several things. I've had some things that work. I've had tickets dismissed that I never showed up for. But basically, I like to just, threaten the clerks, basically, that I'm with a suit against them for using my property. And this time, it's not working. And
wait. How is the clerk using your property?
Well, basically, most of it's with California Highway Patrol. But if you go into these clerks' offices at these courthouses and present them with the fact that they can't use my capitalization of my birth name.
Oh, you got to be Mike. Like and don't like. Mike. I can't say that there's any merit to that at all. Are you the guy who's doing the rocket because you wanted to prove that the Earth was flat?
Well, I've got a plan to get me 62 miles up to prove it or disprove it. That was started by the Washington Post. You got to realize this story went worldwide. I was one of the biggest news stories in the world for 5 months. And it got turned around so much, I didn't know what the real story was. So the thing is, it led to a movie. The movie's done. The trailer's out. And I'm getting ready to have a toy deal. Another movie's being planned. So, yeah, a lot of things are happening. And I'm running for governor. That story already broke November 20th in California.
But you believe that the Earth is flat.
I believe it is motionless. And everything circles around this planet.
But do you believe that the Earth is flat, not a sphere?
Yeah, you were really breaking up that time, Mark, so I couldn't really make out what you were saying.
Okay, but you see, the flat Earth has as much merit as this nonsense that there's property in the all caps name. What evidence do you have that to prove that there's some kind of property interest in the all caps name?
Well, basically, it goes back to an IRS tax code. It goes back to a lot of things that I've done research. I just basically research everything, but this has worked for me, but it's not working now. Traffic court's a different animal. They don't go by any rules. I go in and tell them I want a court of record, and they just look at me like, well, you don't know what you're talking about, and we're proceeding. And I finally got rid of the public defender. And I said, folks, you got to realize I got 4 common law claims going on, 3 stories above this, and you want me a public defender for this? No. And I fought for that. I've made 4 trips to the courthouse, and it's just getting brutal. It's getting brutal. I spent 4 hours up there.
Mike, that's because the stuff with the all caps name has absolutely no merit whatsoever, zero. And I would not be doing that. It's they proved 2,000 years ago with simple math and observation that the Earth is a sphere. Just like I've gone on the show what it seems like 2,000 years by showing by questioning people like yourself and seeing if anyone has any kind of evidence, and it's not lacking in merit just because you or other people who have called the show can't produce the evidence. It's just that I've done my own investigation into it. The idea that the all caps name is a corporation and separate from you, and that there's a treasury account worth billions. I don't know why people seem to think that I subscribe to this stuff that I've debunked on the show many times. I am not a sovereign. I am not a sovereign citizen. I am not a freeman on the land. I think practically, if not every one of the theories and legal interpretations that they have are dead wrong, and people should stop using them. And what I would suggest, if you want to have some success, take a rational approach to this and only challenge. In my experience, it's shown that it's effective to just challenge the arguments or the claims that the prosecution is actually using against you. At any point in time during these court proceedings and arrests and tickets, have they ever just even once even hinted that they were actually charging your all caps name as a corporation and different from you, the man?
No, they've never brought that up, of course, but why would they? Why would they do that?
Because so what makes you think that is what they're doing?
Yeah, Mark, I'm not even hearing half of what you're saying. You're so much it's breaking up the conversation.
I'm asking. I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll have to connect to the caller line again. I'm asking you why why do you believe that they are attacking an all caps name that is a corporation and not you, the man?
Because corporations can only deal with other corporations.
And why do you think that that's true? What are you basing that on?
Well, why can you not get a driver's license in your upper and lowercase name?
I didn't ask that.
Why can you not get a passport? I don't understand. I mean, it's the same reasoning. I mean, I don't have all the answers of anything. I just listen to people and I take what I want from each person. And you make a lot of sense and you wrote a book about it and you've helped a lot of people. But I gather from everybody. I mean, I like the common law stuff. Show me the person making the claim.
Okay, but we want to. But Mike, and I'm almost up against the break, so I'll have to hold you over for the top of the hour.
Right.
But what I'm getting. But the thing is, I believe that I make sense because what I'm talking about passes the rigorous logical test, and that I'm not putting forth fallacies, and that my conclusions are based on facts and logical propositions. And I'm asking you these questions because, one, I don't think there's any merit to these things, but I want to know why you believe that it's true. And if through questioning you, if you're not able to support that, then maybe you and others in the same situation or potentially in the same situation can get away from that. And if you're going to defend yourself, start using solid logic instead of something that at best is speculation. Okay. So, if you can't answer my questions here when we're just, talking as friends, then maybe you don't understand that even if it is a legitimate proposition, you're not nearly qualified to use that as a defense at this point. So just hold on. We're up against the break. We'll be back here on the No Stay Project in just a few moments, starting the second of 3 hours of Anarchy Radio right here on the Liberty Radio Network. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Yes, welcome back to the No Stay Project here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM. And you want to join me on the big show, you may do so at 218-632-9399. That's 218-632-9399. The passcode is 2020 and the pound sign 2020, and the hashtag will get you on the show. And unfortunately, he's dropped off. Maybe he'll call back. We had Mad Mike, who is the, from what it says here, a self-taught rocket scientist who believes the Earth is flat, is running for governor, shot himself 1,800 feet in the air in his homemade rocket. He did get injured, but he wanted to snap a photo proving that astronauts conspired to fabricate the shape of the planet. Yeah, I got to tell you, it's interesting that he's also calling about this name in all caps stuff. And I don't want anyone, I want to be very clear that the all caps stuff is not wrong because Mike or other people who have called the show can't make a logical case for it. It very well could be true. They just not explaining it well. So I think that's the fallacy. So I don't want anyone to think I'm getting caught up in that. But there is absolutely no evidence to support it. There is no evidence. I don't understand why on the usual YouTube stream that we do, there's always some people who think that stuff is true and insisting that there's someone contacted me recently, and I no, there's absolutely no evidence to show that the Treasury Department is creating a multi-million-dollar account and you have to claim your straw man. There's just absolutely no evidence of that. And if you're talking about a multi-million-dollar account, you should be able to produce some evidence of that. And there isn't any. There is none. So I'm hoping that Mike is able to call back and just hopefully that shown the flaws in not only trying to use that as a defense, but just in the proposition itself. That they're not actually attacking you that way. So that's why, just by asking some very good leading questions and asking some, just using the Socratic method, why do you believe that is what they're doing? And you started saying, so why can't you get the driver's license? Well, when you sign for the driver's license, you're not signing in all caps. The captions, it's only in the captions that you see that stuff, or on an address when you're talking about outside of court, but it's only the caption in court. And like an indictment or like a court order, if your name is in the court order or your name is in the indictment, it's in proper English. So it's only in the caption. There's absolutely no. I've covered this ground before. There's no evidence, just like what Mike was saying. They're not doing anything in court that would lead you to believe, that that's what they're doing. And if someone doubts that, then all you need to do is, when you have the police officer, you could just do it in pretrial. Ask the prosecution that. Put some in, if you're in an area where they allow it. Put the questions do some interrogatories, some pretrial interrogatories. Not, you don't get to do that in many misdemeanor cases, which is what we primarily deal with here, the No State Project. But hey, give it a shot. It's worth it. Find out. But either way, you can still put the police officer on the stand and you can question him. Now, can they lie about that? Sure, of course they can. There just is no logical reason and not a shred of evidence to prove that that's actually what they're doing. It's not like what the police officers are conspiring. Hey, do you know if this guy even accepts the straw man? Do you know is he stupid enough or ignorant enough that he's actually going to answer our questions and stop and accept the old cap's name? Because that's the only way we'll have jurisdiction. I mean, if they're going to go to the border and they're going to try to find catch somebody and arrest them, like, a border agent, do they sit there and go back and forth? Well, they're Mexican. Do they even use the old cap's name? They don't even know. I mean, they're Mexican. They wouldn't even have a treasury. I mean, these things, it's laughable because there's just no merit to it. So I hope that on some reflection, maybe he can call back, that Mad Mike can stop looking at things so irrationally and do things based on evidence and logic, because defense in court is going to go a lot better. I really question that threatening the clerks because they're allegedly using your property, meaning the all caps name. Again, there's no evidence. I don't see that is a good defense. And I don't see it. So, all right. Well, we got a new caller here. Hopefully the line is stable. We'll bring him up. We have area code 206. You're live on the No State Project. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mark, how you doing? My name is Randall Wayne, and I'm calling from Washington State.
Randall from Washington, what can I do for you today?
Well, I'm one of these guys that recently got a ticket here a few Saturdays ago, going 72 and a 55 using an SMD. and I didn't sign the ticket, and I got to drive away. I feel pretty lucky in that regard.
Okay.
I didn't give my driver's license, insurance, registration either.
He didn't ask for a... Wait. Did he ask for a driver's license and you just didn't give it to him, or he just didn't even bother to ask for it?
Gosh, we got such a crappy connection. This is the third time I've tried calling. He asked for it twice. I didn't give it to him. In Washington State, we have an RCW, which we're only required to identify ourselves orally with 2 pieces of ID, name and address.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you were able to drive away with that. So, okay, so you've got the ticket. Have you gone to court yet?
Yeah, I did. No, I have a hearing in a couple weeks.
Okay, so you have a hearing or an arraignment?
Well, I haven't been to court yet. So initially, we're supposed to respond within 15 days. I downloaded something very similar to your dismissal offline and filed it. I need to update it because it's got a couple mistakes in it. So I bought yours last night offline, and I had a couple questions on whether or not I'm going to have any problems striking the first one and then submitting this one to the courts, to the clerk.
You can file you can file your own motion to strike. What kind of arguments were raised in the one you did file, though?
Almost the same things that are in yours. It was a notified special appearance, challenging jurisdiction, corpus delicti, and a few other things, as well as the last point. I gave myself or reserved the right to modify errors, omissions, and to make it more clear and understandable. So, I left it out for me to up-to-date the dismissal that's there.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Sounds like you can just file the other motion to dismiss with the discovery request and take it from there.
Okay, and don't even worry about the first one that I filed.
They see what they do with it. Let me mute you up. We're up against the break, so listening to the No State Project here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM, on for June 9th, 2008. We'll be back. This is the second of 3 hours of Anarchy Radio on the Liberty Radio Network, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Yes, welcome back. June 9th, doing well. Let me just I don't know how that happened, but just let me mute you back up. Just hold on a second there, Randall. That should not be happening. That's if I keep mine muted, you won't hear a damn thing. But if I keep the caller line muted, it still comes through. But all right, look, we've had enough technical problems on the big show, so I will be live on Wednesday. I wanted to let everyone know Wednesday I should have my webcam, so shouldn't be an issue. So we'll be back on the Wednesday stream. So if we miss anyone today, just remember we've got the commercial-free live stream on my YouTube channel. And if you want to join me here on the big show today, 218-632-9399, 218-632-9399. You can also reach me on Skype, and it is Frank Rizzo 3. Frank Rizzo with the number 3. So we'll get back to Randall in Washington. Okay, Randall, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Mark, how you doing again?
I'm doing well, Arky. So let's get back into this. So, I don't think you probably don't have to worry about that. I would just refile. I would file the other motion to dismiss with the discovery request, and I'd give about maybe a week, and I would call the prosecutor. Like I mentioned in the instructions that I sent you with the templates, and ask him some questions if there is a prosecutor actually assigned to the case. So, but if there isn't, then I would leave a message with the police officer, and because they're the ones who would get the discovery request if there is no prosecutor assigned, and start asking some questions. What facts they rely on to support their claims.
Okay, and I can get that script from your website as well, right?
You can. And I would suggest definitely do some role playing in the Skype chat. I did set up another chat room. There's not nearly as many people in it, but it's just for for role playing, and because it's just for the role playing. But I can put you in there at contact me at Frank Rizzo 3. We could put you in there. Definitely give a call in a week or so after doing some practicing, and speak with the prosecutor who's ever prosecuting. Because the cop is making a claim that, hey, you're physically in Washington, the laws apply, and you want to know the evidence he has to prove that that's true.
Exactly, and I have been listening to a bunch of your videos. They're quite helpful. I've got my mind wrapped around this, and absolutely, this mock trial stuff is where I'm at right now, and it'd be great if you could add me to that group.
Yeah, I can do that. It is very important. If you have the opportunity, I would also suggest, like I tell everybody, you before even if you to practice before even speaking with the prosecutor on the phone, if possible, then get in front of a city council.
I have to apologize, Mark. I have a really poor connection. I'm only hearing every other one of your words, and I've tried just like the third call or something. I'm not sure what's going on. Is it okay if I converse with you via email to get the information regarding this group?
Yeah, that's fine. I understand. All right, I'll reconnect to the call line on a break.
I can't quite hear you.
It's okay. I'm gonna contact me off air, and we'll continue. Unfortunately, I don't know what's going on. That's just the way things go. I was able to do HD video, so it's not the connect. It doesn't seem like it's that connection. We'll see what we can do with more callers. And so welcome back to the show, Kerry in New Mexico. Welcome back, my friend.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
I'm doing well. Hopefully, the quality of my audio getting over to you is doing all right.
Well, I'm in the same boat as all the rest of the people that you've talked today. I'm picking up every second, third, or fourth word that you say, and I mean, it's your program's not making it off the ground here.
Well, it's just between us.
Hello?
Yeah,
I do need to communicate with you, and it's like impossible on your show today.
At least it's not going out over the air, and I'll do what I can to edit some of this stuff out before I get it posted. But I am sorry for the people that are on the call line. I will, on the next break, which is coming up real soon, I will reconnect, and we can try it again and see if that helps. So if you want to stay on the line during the break, then that's what we'll do.
Yes, I will. And believe it or not, I just had like 7-8 words that just came through right in a row. So it cuts in, it cuts off, and then sometimes it's almost impossible. But I need to file an appeal with the appellate court of the state, and I'm kind of at wit's end as to how to go about it. So I'm really needing to talk with you. Okay,
well, I will cover that, and we'll, I know it's a very common thing that we do here on the show where people ask about the appeal. So let me just go through it one step at a time. But before I get into that, so you had a trial already? Did you have a trial, Kerry?
You're not even coming through. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Was there a trial?
We have not had a trial yet. I filed the petition of writ, and the judge ruled against me, so I was going to take that to the appellate court. And then on my other case, it was supposed to have been damages under $1,000, and I looked and I saw where they had $2,000. So, and it gets in there where we hadn't had anything on jurisdiction or anything like that. And I just wonder if there's some other motions that I can file so that, this thing's been going on for well over a year.
Okay, so you filed a petition for a writ. What kind of writ was it?
Oh, Mark, I don't hear anything you're saying, and I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I wish I could, because this is so important to
Okay,
me.
just hold tight. I'm going to mute you up, and I'll get back to you after the break. Again, everybody, I don't know what the hell is going on. And there's obviously something wrong, because even when I have them muted up on the mixing board, maybe I can change channels on the mixer. I don't get what's going on. But I'll see what I can do after the break. But one of the things that Kerry was asking about is an appeal, and what we do with an appeal. Very important to understand that to get an appeal started, at least in the United States, you file a notice of appeal. There is no argument in the notice of appeal. There's no due process claims. There's none of that. It is just that. It's notice. So I do have a template for that you can email me about, and I can get that to you, but it is just a notice, and I will pick up from there, and hopefully we'll have a better quality on the caller line when we get back. So 218-632-9399 is the number, and the passcode is 2020 with the pound sign. So we'll be back with your calls in just a moment. Don't go away. Yes, welcome back to the No State Project here on LRN.FM. I think we got it squared away, so if Randall wanted to call back, or anyone else that may not have been able to hear as well, I think we got it squared away. There was one minor adjustment that seems to have done it. So if you want to join me on the big show, it is 218-632-9399, 218-632-9399, and we'll talk more about appeals with Kerry in New Mexico. So welcome back. All right, so Kerry, we got that straight now. You can hear everything I'm saying now, right?
Yes, you're not cutting out. I'm hearing you crystal clear. Thank you very much.
All right, I'm glad I was able to clear that up. So one less tech issue. It's all right. So what kind of petition for a writ did you file? Was it a prohibition or a mandamus?
Prohibiting the judge to move against me in the case. I read prohibiting
Prohibition.
The judge from moving forward in my case. And then, so that went, okay, so we were in Metro Court, and we filed that over in District Court, and then we paid them all their money for that. And then the judge never heard it, and they just sent me the piece of paper denying my claim. And
did they? Well, how did? Okay.
Assumption.
What did they? Yeah, I wanted to ask and make clear why they threw. Did they just not accept jurisdiction?
They said that my claim was untimely and this, that, and the other. I mean, they're going to go for their benefit. They really don't care. This is a money game for these people, and if they can't answer if they can't answer your discovery or this, that, or the other, and they refuse to answer your discovery, I mean, it kind of looks really bad on them, and you get the hint or the smell. This is just about them generating revenue, Mark. It's not about honesty.
Sure.
It's a lack of honesty.
Well, yes, but I want to address the untimely. Are they saying it's too soon, or are they saying it's too late, or it's ambiguous?
Basically, what the judge said, that I was judge shopping, that he wrote in there. And I apologize that I don't have it sitting in front of me where I can read it to you, but I was going to copy that. I was going to copy the provision that I'd sent in, and then I was going to copy the judge's response, and obviously that I have to make an appeal to the appellate court of New Mexico and get that. Now, as I talked to you last week, I told you that the zoning dropped the charge against my house in the city, and of course we're residing at the dwelling out here in the county, and they dropped that charge against me, and they're moving forward. And the guy that's screwing with me over here, where I'm charged for running over his mailbox, had blocked off the county road. And now he's charging me an additional $2,000 for the fence that he built to go against the easement. And I spent yesterday down there at the county going over the plats and all that, trying to ascertain the correct information of what's a roadway, and then what's the easement. And I sent emails off to the state surveying department to obtain the information, and they hadn't responded back, but it's only been a few days.
Okay, but let's first address wait one at a time. Let's do this one at a time. It's okay. You've got the two cases, so let's take care of the one first, and then we'll talk about the other one. So
there's technically three more.
Oh, vey. All right. As far as the petition for a writ of prohibition, the judge threw it out as untimely, and that you're just judge shopping. So because you don't like the one, you're going to go find another one. Well, that's kind of stupid, because that's what every petition for a writ involving a court has to do. You've got a judge that is not acting appropriately and fairly. So,
and let me give you a little bit more information, Mark. One of the things that he noted is because the first two times that we filed that writ of probation prohibiting, it went. The state attorneys came in and they said that it wasn't filed correctly. So then when I went to the third time, and I go to the clerk's office down on the second floor of the building, and when I file this thing, they assign a judge. And because that it wasn't assigned to the judge that first heard the first two times, then that's where he came in there that I was judge shopping and all this other, and I wasn't. They are the ones who assigned a judge to look at the case, not me.
Well, sure, but they're saying that the petition for a writ is just you're just using that as a front because you just want a different judge. I'm like, well, but that's the process. When you file a motion to recuse the judge, all you want is you've got evidence to show that this particular judge cannot be fair, and you want somebody else who will actually act fair. That's a normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill process. To turn around and use that as a reason to throw it out is really stupid. It's almost as bad as in California, they throw out petitions for writ of mandate because you haven't shown an abuse of discretion, which that's not what a petition for writ of mandate is for. So you have the option of either submitting a motion to reconsider, or on the grounds that, hey, this is appropriate because the judge is not acting within his jurisdiction. I think I would do that before trying to launch an appeal, because doing an appeal is not only going to cost money, but it's going to take time, and you'd have to still get a stay of proceedings for the trial court. So maybe a petition to reconsider may be a better option right now. Maybe you might be able to get a stay of proceedings. So you want to file the motion to reconsider.
Right, and this is why it's so helpful to talking to you, because your background in all this is way more than mine. I mean, I'm just a guy trying to run a company, trying to pay my mortgages, take care of my family, and somehow you have a little bit better knack at this, and this never even entered into my mind, and this is why that I do call you and ask for your help and expertise in these matters, because this is above and beyond what I do to get through life. I mean, obviously, I have to contend with these issues, and I mean, Mark, I've told you I've been at this for 15 years. The one zoning case that they dismissed on me the other day was where they came in 10 years after the fact and extorted me for another $700-800. And then the second they got my money, rather than answer what did we send them? We sent them the discovery request. Well, then they closed the case. So obviously, I need to appeal that.
Well, you can. True. So, all right. So we're done with the one case. So let's get now to the one where they're accusing you of knocking down a mailbox.
Yes. And that was the writ that the judge in the second district court, that was the one that he just rejected all that, and so then we went over to court the next day, and the one judge was out for she just had a baby that had been hearing this. That was that Courtney Weeks judge, and she was out, so the other judge gave me 60 days to go back to court. So obviously, you know, the candle's burning again, and I've got to follow the path that you just said was to file for them to reconsider.
Well, you could do that, but just hold on a second. We're up against another break, so just hold tight. My name is Mark Stevens. You're listening to the No State Project here on LRN.FM, the Liberty Radio Network. Taking calls at 218-632-9399, 218-632-9399. And also, hey, if you dissent to what we're discussing here on the show or any of the shows, give us a call. Yes, welcome back. This is the No State Project live for June 9th, 2018 from the fortified compound in San Bernardino, California. It's actually a pretty damn nice day out. You can see the mountains. So, hey, maybe I'll get up to Lake Arrowhead today after the big show. That would be nice. But after the big show, I will also be getting the audio up at markstevens.net. And maybe not today because I'm on the older computer, but I'll get the audio only into a video that I will get on my YouTube channel, No State Project. So if you've missed the show or parts of the show, definitely check that out. I want to welcome back Kerry from New Mexico. Kerry, an idea that I had, too, for this other case is that you probably can also file the motion to dismiss for prosecutorial misconduct because, as you've mentioned, you've not gotten any discovery material yet.
Right. Well, I when I was in there this last week, and I kept mentioning that they gave me some, but they're okay. One of the things, if you don't disclose or you withhold information, you can't have a contract. And that's what they're trying to do with me, is they're trying to contract with me without just giving me the information that I've requested. And that was like one of the things also in my earlier situations where I requested like video and all this other stuff that would have helped my case, then the judge denied me that.
Well, wait, what do you mean they're trying to contract with you?
Well, they're wanting me to be in their contract that they want me to enter into this contract so that they can find me guilty, whether or not, you know. They're thinking, okay, I'm some sort of citizen of the state of New Mexico. They don't want to provide that. They want me to accept this. So they're trying to contract me into this ploy that I'm their citizen and without giving me discovery.
What are they actually doing? Wait, Kerry, I don't think there's any merit to this, but I got to go through this anyway. What are they actually saying to you and doing that leads you to believe that they're trying to contract with you?
Well, if I don't show up into court, then I'm obviously going to be put in, and there'll be a warrant for me. So that right there is some sort of contract against my will.
No, because if it's compulsory,
I'm not.
If it's compulsory, Kerry, it has nothing to do with contract. And it is compulsory. They're not trying to contract with you. Now, if they're going to, have they done anything overtly to lead you to believe that they're trying to get you to admit that you're a citizen or acquiesce that you're a citizen in order for them to get jurisdiction?
Yeah, they're holding the information from the discovery from me.
Okay, but how are those two related?
They're not giving. Well, they're making the assumption that, you know, if they just keep moving forward, we have a deal. And my thing of it is, I keep asking.
No, I think what they're doing is they're just going to go forward so that if you do appeal it, they can show on the appeal that they can show that they gave you due process as far as bringing you through the procedure and giving you an opportunity to defend yourself. That makes a lot more sense and is logical as opposed to they're trying to contract with you. If they're not going to give you, so let's get back to what really matters here. If they're not going to give you the discovery material, instead of filing to compel it, I would just file, like I mentioned earlier, a motion to dismiss for prosecutorial misconduct. Now, there's two issues of prosecutorial misconduct going on here. You've got the flat-out denial of discovery material. They're just not giving you what you're asking for. And so prosecutorial misconduct is not just arguing without evidence, and knowingly arguing without evidence. It's also relying on the witness that you know doesn't have personal knowledge of the matters they're testifying to. So you can file the motion to dismiss for prosecutorial misconduct, and that's going to be based on the actual record, not any kind of assumptions that they're trying to contract with you, because no.
And this also goes well over the 182-day rule, too.
The what?
182 and a half days.
If
they have to,
yeah, you're talking about the speedy trial rule. Yes, if they've gone beyond the 180 days, which, we've had it happen before, where it's just a matter of we are defending ourselves quite zealously, trying to hold the prosecution to their burden of proof, and they run the clock on you. I mean, it's happened before, and that's possible. At no time did you ask for a continuance, did you?
No.
Well, do you know how many? I mean, do you have a pretty good estimate of how many days it's been? I mean, my gosh, it's got to be more than 180 days, because it's been longer than that since you first called about it.
Yes, we're approaching 1 year right now.
Oh, well, as long as you haven't filed for a continuance and you're certain of that, then file a motion to. I should have a template there somewhere, but it's fairly simple. All you do is have to lay out that this was the day the complaint was filed on. This is how many days has expired since then. It's about 1 year, and the laws require in the due process, the speedy trial guarantee is 180 days, and we're well past that. I do want to throw out real quick, Kerry, that kind of a real weasel move that prosecutors make is that they believe that you have to file for a denial of a speedy trial before the 180 days is up. I don't think that that's relevant whatsoever. The prosecution is well aware of how long they have to prosecute. If they're not getting you to trial within that time, bada boom, bada bing, it should be thrown out. So I would, prosecutorial misconduct and denial of a speedy trial, which, hey, the denial of a speedy trial is a pretty easy way out for them.
Right. Well, you certainly would win a court case on your motions. You know what I'm saying? You just can't go in there and with your fingers crossed. You've got to have your paperwork in order. And I certainly have failed, to uphold my end on the paperwork end, and it's mostly because, it's an IQ thing. If you don't have the IQ, you certainly shouldn't expect to win against somebody with a higher IQ.
Well,
I suffer a lot from that.
I would jump in there and say that somebody look, if you are smart enough, and you are, anyone smart enough to grasp that the burden of proof is on the accuser, and that we should be asking leading questions, clarifying questions using the Socratic method. We're asking who, what, where, when, why, and how type of questions. That it doesn't matter how smart somebody is. There's only so much they can do to gloss over and spin their non-responsive answers and to try to cover up their lack of evidence. You could be the smartest, most shrewd individual on the planet, but if you are trying to support a claim that has no evidence, there's only so far that's going to get you. Intelligence cannot make up for a lack of evidence and a garbage argument.
Right, but for somehow, and one of my big things that I need to learn is how to stop them from moving forward when they're very persistent in denying the evidence that I've submitted, or the questions, or the lack of failure to answer any of the questions, and yet the next word out of their mouth is, guilty,
Well, and your frustration is shared by all of us. There's going to be situations, and it sucks when it happens. I'm dealing with a couple of them right now. They're tax cases. And bottom line, because of the agents that are involved and a court that bends over backwards for the IRS, these individuals have absolutely there is no remedy. So it's a very rare situation, but it tends to really rear its head, Kerry, when we're talking about IRS or really small towns, where you have no remedy, period. Now, I don't think you're in that boat, but for Chris in Kansas who called up, the situation is there is no remedy. Okay? They're not. We've done this in the federal courts enough. They're going to bend over backwards for the IRS. You have no remedy. But here, at least you haven't exhausted what is available, so you still have appellate courts and the Supreme Court that you could file in, and heaven help us if, depending on the situation, you could file in the federal court to stop the state government. But just hold tight. We'll finish in the next segment. We're up against the top of the hour break. My name is Mark Stevens. You want to join me? It's 218-632-9399, passcode 2020. Welcome back. It is the third of 3 hours of Anarchy Radio right here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM. It is June 9, 2018, live from the fortified compound in San Bernardino. And it actually is a compound because there's like an 800 square foot house also on the property that was here originally. So anyhow, and I call it that because when you challenge sacred cows, such as that whether there's a government or not, as opposed to just a group of men and women forcing strangers to give them money, the media that is in an incestuous relationship with people called government will, they have to paint you in a bad light. That's why I do that. So people who are interested in morals and ethics and logic, reason, and evidence that challenge sacred cows, where did they have to smear us and say that we don't live in houses, we don't have homes, we have compounds. They're fortified compounds, and so you don't have a basement, you have an underground dungeon. So just wordsmithing to smear us. So if you want to join me here on the big show, it's 218-632-9399. 218-632-9399. The passcode is 2020 with the pound sign, or 2020 with the hashtag. You can also get me on Skype at FrankRizzo3. Please instant message me first and let me know that you want to be on the show, and I'll bring you up, just like I do with Kerry here. So we'll bring Kerry back. All right, Kerry. So we'll dispel this myth that they're trying to contract you, because they're not. And we're going to just challenge the assertions that they're making. And if we're not able to get them to stop, then we can, of course, file a petition for a writ. If that's not going to go through, they're going to reject that also. You have to reconsider and maybe appeal it. And it may be one of the situations, like I've talked about before the break, where you have no remedy. The only thing you can do is hope to pay them enough that they leave you alone. So, but you're not at that situation. You're not in that situation, at least yet. So hopefully it never gets that way. But it looks to me like this could go away pretty easy just by filing a motion to dismiss for denial of a speedy trial.
Well, listen, if this thing was going to go away, I mean, obviously the guy that owns the mailbox, his son's in the sheriff's department. The sheriff comes out here and without any eyewitnesses, whatever, drags me into court, and if it was so easy, why would we be at this a year later? It's not. Their intent is to punish me and take my freedoms or my times or.
Sure. Well, we discussed other remedies also.
You jump over the fence and you get in the pen with the greased pig, and you hear the pig squealing with delight. Yeah, at a certain point in time, the pig enjoys it.
Well, right. But we've talked about other remedies.
Part of one thing. Pardon?
We've talked about some other remedies where you can file a claim against the insurance, the one who carries the risk management for the cop who keeps doing this to you, against the whether he's a city or county.
The thing of it is now is the way this thing's moved here in the last 3 months. My neighbor built a fence down the middle of the roadway, and now he's claiming all the expenses of the fence. According to that, now it went from $200, we're over $2,000 for his fencing, and he had to put the fence up because I ran his mailbox over, and like I said, I spent the other day down there getting all the plats and all this other, and
yeah, but you also said the mailbox was in the middle of the road.
Well, it was in the middle of a county road.
So
it's
wait, Kerry, hold on a second.
Trailers in the middle of a county road, unregistered.
Okay, I wanted you to get me a picture of that, but now if you're saying he's built a fence, is the fence now in the road and off of his easement?
The fence is on a private road, and he's at an intersection, and then the road makes a turn, but he owns both sides of the road. So on the county road, he's taken several trailers and put them in the middle of the road. When basically what he's doing is he's taken a 50-foot lane and he's narrowed it to 25 foot.
And it's not possible.
My land is A1, which is agricultural. That means I can't technically get a semi in and out of my dwelling or my residence easily. The last semis that we had to go and back down the road.
Well, have you, perish the thought, but, when your back's up against the wall and his kid works for the sheriff's department, but maybe, because if he's doing that and taking more of his easement than he should, then that could be declared a public nuisance.
Well, but the thing of it is I lack the wherewithal of where do I file? Because I've called the state police, they won't act. I've called the sheriff's department, they won't act. We've sent emails to the county. So basically, it is going to get into a deal where I'm going to have some sort of lawsuit against the state for basically what the law states is they have to treat us equally. And this has been about the most one-sided ordeal. But my whole life dealing with the government has been very one-sided.
So it typically is, but here you've got a situation where the neighbor is being a prick, and he's emboldened by the fact that his son is one of the king's men.
Right, and on the king's house. I think what it says we don't dial 911.
Well, it's kind of a common thing in the South to have something like that. I can certainly imagine,
but I mean,
in Arizona too.
The rednecks are rednecks.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily paint that everyone with that is a redneck. I certainly remember seeing it sounds like that in Arizona. But, Arizona is a very gun-friendly community. I will point out, I don't know why people in Arizona would even begin to argue Second Amendment when the Arizona Constitution is extremely explicit. It doesn't even mention militia, as far as I remember. It just says the right of the individual to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. But a little trivia there. You might, I don't know the exact county office you would have to call. Maybe the sheriff is not the right one for a public nuisance. It would suck if you had to file, because you could ultimately, with your back against the wall, not getting any other remedy whatsoever, file against the guy that he is a public nuisance. But if his son's a cop and that's it's a good old boy network, and you may not be able to get remedy locally.
Well, that was the thing, too, is that when we went into court and we were asking for subpoenas, and then we were just denied.
Okay, what were you asking for a subpoena for? What was this against and again, well,
I wanted to subpoena because that the man has 8 or 9 cameras that are up, And the camera thing that shows the vehicle backing over the mailbox, there's a piece of equipment that was put in the intersection, okay?
Oh,
so when the vehicle came around the intersection, it had to back up, and obviously the vehicle's 20-something foot long, and then when it backed up, well, when he blocked the intersection to 25 feet, then the mailbox, the dirt that he'd placed in the middle of the county road was soft dirt, and he put the mailbox in it, so the mailbox pushed over in the dirt. I mean, he used that mailbox for another 6 months.
This is,
until I
just
started complaining about that he suffered no damages in court. Then he's replaced it. But as it stands right now, his mailbox still stands in the middle of the county intersection.
Okay, well, we're gonna. I'll be in touch with you all fair. We've covered a lot of ground in this, and we got some other calls to get to. But whatever you may have missed, you can just re-listen to the show. I do appreciate the call.
Contact.
What? Damn it! I'm sorry. Contact me off air there, Kerry. My name is Mark Stevens. You're listening to the No State Project here on LRN.FM. We'll be back with your calls in just a moment. Yes, welcome back to the No State Project here on the Liberty Radio Network. It's LRN.FM, the Liberty Radio Network, and I probably should have been mentioning already that the first weekend in August, we've got the Jackalope Fest coming back. I think it's actually in the 9th year. So definitely check that out, look that up online. I'll have to get that linked into the show notes here. And hopefully, unlike last year, I will be able to make it because it's always a great time to go out there. And, it's not in the desert. It is about an hour and a half northeast of Phoenix, and it is pine country. It is gorgeous. That's why I mentioned earlier I'm in San Bernardino, but I'd like to be able to get to Arrowhead because it's especially now this time of year. It's just fantastic. That would be a big bear. That would be out friggin' standing. But Jackalope Freedom Fest, check it out. I'll do my best to make it. I wasn't able to make Libertopia, which sucked, but that's a hell of a lot more of a commitment. Whereas this is, like I said, it's 3 or 4 hours round trip from Phoenix. So, not a big. So hopefully I'll be able to make that. Always a good time to see folks up there. The number here, if you want to join me, is 218-632-9399, 218-632-9399. The passcode is 2020 with the # or hashtag. You can also Skype me at FrankRizzo3. That's the number 3. And I just keep getting back to the stuff I was talking about with Mad Mike. And I'm glad he's not seriously hurt after that rocket launch, but that just like with the Call of Shames, I think that was a pretty good example of the power and why asking questions and holding somebody making a claim to their burden. And I asked 2 fundamental questions regarding why he believes, why. And it was no different, the same as when we spoke earlier where Randall or Kerry thought that they were trying to contract. So just like you hear on the Call of Shames, you can hear how powerful it is and effective it is if we're just asking questions to someone making a claim against us, whether they know their subject or whether they have evidence to support it. And so this notion that, for example, this is just one of many examples. Somebody making a claim, which I think is just monumentally just stupid. The idea, just talking about it. Look, I promote anarchy on the show. Not this sovereign citizens or sovereign, I don't mean to upset anybody, but none of this freeman on the land stuff. Anarchy. There never was a legitimate government. If you're talking about the U.S. in particular, you can talk all day long and say, well, jurisdiction is by conquest. Yeah, but that contradicts, like I've said so many times, it contradicts the actual public relations, that it is by consent. The American government is not on paper supposed to be by an act of conquest, one group over another group. It's you know, we're talking about anarchy. If it is by conquest, and there's no doubt it was an act, it was, you know, acts of conquest. There's the people who were conquered. Yes, Americans. You know, there was no consent. It was, we're going to rule you, and if you don't like it, come tangle with us. You know, we're stealing from enough people that we can hire men with guns to kill you. Oh, and it's all perfectly legal for us. That's a big problem. If you're not looking at it in from a moral standpoint, and you accept that things that are grossly immoral, that are legal, are okay, and magically not immoral anymore, that's a problem, and I refuse to accept that. And so the idea of a ruling class, something I just don't get from these sovereigns or the sovereign citizens or the freemen on the land that think it's all a contract and all this other crap. No. It's more accurate, and it's a hell of a lot more accurate to look at it as they're just men and women who are ruling us. They are a ruling class, and they've got their useful idiots, their henchmen, you know, police officers, judges, IRS agents, you know, tax agents, to do the bidding for them. They're the ones that they let the useful idiots get on the front line. When the Carl Dragers of the world snap and they can't take the abuse any further, they're not going to be mowing down people like Jamie Dimon or Lloyd Blankfein. Well, why would they mow down Lloyd Blankfein anyway? He's doing God's work. No, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be mowing down the faces of the abuse. People don't mow down the ruling class because most of us don't know who the hell they are. That's not what happens. So we're against having a ruling class because it's immoral. It's wrong. And yes, I understand as well as anybody. I get that their immoral acts, that their criminal acts are legal. It's okay. That's why I start and then, you know, I say it so often on the show. We're anarchists because we reject the ridiculous argument that it's okay to lie, steal, kill, and cheat people just because you call yourself a government. I reject it. That's it. You know, why? Because it's immoral. It's wrong. And we use that as a basis. And it's why when people make these claims, just like what was done here on the show, when someone claims the laws apply, when someone claims, you know, it's like when that has as much merit as when somebody says that there is a treasury account from the all caps name, which is a fiction, which is a, you know, corporation. Why? And so it's the same thing. Why do you believe that is true? What is the source? What is making you believe that? Why do you put any stock in that whatsoever? Why do you believe that that's true? And you notice, just like here on the show, they don't know. It's just what they heard. And that's literally the same answer that you get when it comes to why they believe the laws apply to us. Well, because it's the law. Because someone told them that. When they were 5 and 6 years old, they went through civics class in a compulsory school that taught them that. They'll pick that up on the other side of the segment. You want to join me? 218-632-9399. 218-632-9399. The passcode is 2020 and the pound sign. Yes, welcome back. Getting the last two segments of the big show for today, live from the Fortified Compound in San Bernardino, California. I will be back at the Fortified Compound in Mesa, Arizona for the Wednesday broadcast, and everything should be back and working just right. So if you haven't seen it yet, watch the video, the recent video released where Mesa PD continues their pattern of systemic abuse, beating the living hell out of somebody, beating a man unconscious. Wasn't even a suspect. So, yeah. I mean, I've had firsthand, what happens in Mesa. And it's not just Mesa. It's all police departments. But Mesa, I mean, guy Daniel Shaver, I think. I'm really sorry if I can't think of the exact name off the top of my head right now, but the one who was murdered on videotape, complying. It's disgraceful. But what I'm talking about is using the Socratic method. And if anyone doubts how effective we've been in getting things tossed out, just go to markstevens.net. There's plenty. I've got 2 more success stories that I wanted to talk about today. I will do what I can to get the documentary proof posted. We got Todd in California getting a demurring to a traffic charge, and that getting tossed out, which is great. And then also in Florida, we have a ticket thrown out in Florida. I forget the name. But again, I'll do a separate video for that, where he filed a motion to dismiss and discovery request, sent it to the police officer because there wasn't a prosecutor. The police officer was doing it. And they saw the police officer in the parking lot, and he was getting his jacket on. He was in a shirt and tie and jacket. He's putting his jacket on, and the cop said to him, "You don't even need to bother putting on your jacket because I'm withdrawing the complaint." And eventually, and they went in, and it was with the judge agreed, and he asked him, "Well, why are you withdrawing?" He says, "Well," and the only answer he gave him, the most he would say to him was, "I shouldn't have charged you in the first place." So if he knows he shouldn't have charged him in the first place, he filed a false statement, a false claim with the court. I am going to go out on a limb here, and because it was under penalty of perjury, or at best it was at the least it was certified, he's making false statements. That would have to be a felony, I would imagine. So, but I think he's just glad to have it tossed out. It's not like they're going to charge the police officer anyway, but I will get to that. But the point was that we've had plenty of success, plenty of examples where the tickets have been thrown out and complaints and tax, things like that. And it's because we're able to so easily show that the ones making the accusation, the one who bears the burden of proof, don't have it. And so getting back, I was asking why he believes, so like Mike, why do you believe that there is a treasury account connected to the all caps name, and the all caps name is actually a corporation? See, the thing is, if you're going to do something like that and create a corporation, there's going to be a paper trail. So you could say, well, how do you prove that the city of Mesa as a municipal corporation is just a fiction and is just a corporation? Well, you can actually look, because there's a corporate charter. And you can see it. You can download it. There's a copy of it. It's just like, well, what's the corporate charter for the United States? Well, it's called the United States Constitution. It was written and adopted in 1787 and adopted allegedly in 1789. And that's the bylaws of that corporate body politic. And so if you're going to turn around and say that that the all caps name is a corporation, there'll be some evidence to that. If you're going to claim that the Treasury from the all caps name is creating a multi-million-dollar account, there is going to be a paper trail. You're going to be able to prove that. So when you ask them, why do you believe that? The same as when you're asking somebody who believes the laws apply to me because I'm physically in Arizona, it's why do you believe that that's true? Get to the source. Why is this true to you? Why do you cling to this belief? You know, like police officers who cling to the belief to the point where they will kill you because they believe it's true. Why do you believe that that's true? So just like what Mike said, it boils down to he heard that's what somebody else said. And so it's no different with the police officer or the IRS. Somebody else told me. Well, logic has to be employed here. Is it true just because they told you it's true? No, of course absolutely it's not. You know, you don't have to get technical, and well, that's a proof by assertion fallacy. Just basic common sense tells you something is not true just because someone says it's true. So the police officer is literally going out with a gun, and he's making these stops, he's writing these complaints, he's beating people, and sometimes shooting and killing them, based off of an assertion that, or an opinion that he heard from somebody else. He heard it from someone at the academy. Okay, does that make it true? What did they base that assertion on? What did they base their claim on? So you could turn around and say, well, but there's a court case. The court said so. Really? Did the court take in all the facts? Did it take in opposing arguments? Is it literally just an opinion? Was it done after due process? Was it done where the individual the victim was able to cross-examine and confront the witnesses against them? Or is it just because they said so? And most of the time, it's going to, if not all, with these situations, it did because somebody said so. That's why in Government Indicted, I mentioned that it's turtles all the way down. The U.S. attorney will say, well, the courts, when confronted on their burden of proof, will say, the court, in this case, said that, there is jurisdiction. Now, it doesn't mention Mark Stevens or you. It doesn't say it's got nothing to do with you. Because every case is fact-specific. And then, if you look at that particular case, they're quoting another lawyer. And that's why it's turtles all the way down. It's just an opinion. It's nothing more than a judge has made an assertion. It's not even remotely connected to the facts of your situation. And so it's completely irrelevant. Absolutely irrelevant. And so they could say, or repeat the claim, Mark, you're physically in Arizona. The laws apply to you. Why do you believe that? Why do you believe that that's true? It's the law. Yeah, we're talking about the law. And that's why when you ask exactly how does that work, when you actually ask the actors, the people who matter, not people on YouTube who don't, okay, when you're actually talking to the people who are attacking you, where due process requires if they can't make their case, it has to be tossed out. It doesn't matter what someone on YouTube says. That's why Andy Mora from the Franchise Tax Board, a lawyer, said that's the way it works because that's all they have. We'll be back with the last segment here on the No State Project in just a moment, so please don't go away. Yes, welcome back to the No State Project. We are in the last segment of the big show. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Remember, we'll be back, should definitely be back live on Wednesday for the commercial-free edition of the No State Project from 3 to 4 Pacific Standard Time. So if we didn't get to hear from you today, then definitely check that out on Wednesday at my YouTube channel. And if you're subbed, you'll know exactly when we start the live broadcast. So what I was talking about before is the simplicity of how, and when something is very simple, it's usually, a pretty effective, at least here, where you can just ask a few questions and the one making the claim folds. Now, you may hear that asking questions is not an effective defense, and that can't. I mean, we got evidence to prove. And if you, my gosh, how many times have we seen in the news, especially with these lying cops, where whether it's at a preliminary hearing to determine probable cause, or it's actually in, a trial in where the police officer is on cross-examination, and just under questioning, the entire the entire prosecution's case completely collapses because they will be, because of a very effective cross-examination. So the idea is just look. It just comes down to, all of this really comes down to not accepting what is handed to you as the absolute gospel truth, that just because you read it online or some lawyer wrote it on a YouTube channel doesn't mean it's true. And that goes for anything that I say. That's why I make it very clear. When I come on this show and I publicly state something, 99% of the time, it's already been something that's been very well thought out. The position has merit because I've examined the logic, I've examined the evidence, and it stands. So, for example, I can say that Cheryl Hardy is a criminal because of what she did to Bao. I can say that what the psychologist did, Barry Williams, was unethical because because I have the evidence. I have the testimony of the victim, and I have the evidence. I know from the evidence that he conducted a completely unnecessary psychological evaluation on Bao. He participated in that false imprisonment. So I have the evidence. But these accusations fall apart very easily because they don't have the evidence. They don't have the logic. And that's why you can ask these basic questions. So getting back to like when I was questioning Mike, and hopefully he calls back again, especially since, I had that tech issue and we don't have that anymore. To really examine it and maybe get him to back off of maybe that's why he's, he just, it was, his worldview. I'd like to think it was that, but we'll see. But just asking those few questions was enough that I think if anyone listening heard that, should at least prompt them to start examining what is being said and not accepting it at face value. That critical analysis, it must be subjected to investigation and to see whether the logic is sound. Do the propositions, does the evidence lead logically to the conclusion? And not because I said it, not because a lawyer said it, and not because some politician or bureaucrat said it. Go through and do your own independent investigation to verify whether what claim is being made is actually true. Is it true that there's a treasury account in the all caps name worth millions? No. Is it true that when you are being prosecuted, they are trying to contract with you? Well, the most important part of a contract is a freely given agreement. Is there any evidence to that? No, the evidence is actually contrary to that. So, no. And I've had people straw man my position that I don't believe in the right to travel. I don't believe that we should be or are free to travel. And that's not what I've ever said. What I'm saying is the legal argument that is based on interpretation of court cases and definitions, the legal interpretation that you're not required to have a driver's license because the Supreme Court has ruled that the driver's license is only for the extraordinary use of the roads, that has no merit because of two things. Well, the main thing is because even though that was true at one point, that was 95 to 100 years ago. So it doesn't have merit, and I've already explained. So again, you got to look at the evidence. You have to look at whether the logic stands up. No different than when they're making a claim that just because you're physically in Arizona, their Constitution and laws apply to you. The Constitution is a written instrument. How does that logically connect to your physical location? Again, why do you believe that that's true? Just start asking people that look, get agreement. Do you believe that the laws apply to everyone just because we're physically in Arizona? Oh, yeah. Why do you believe that that's true? And if you believe that, you yourself examine your own belief. Why do you believe that that's true? It's not sufficient to just say it's the law. Okay? That's not an answer. And if you think that's an answer, you need to explain what that means. What does it mean to say it's the law? We know that laws are written instrument. They're rules that are written down. So looking at it strictly factually does not answer the question. To say it's the law doesn't answer the question. It does not make the argument true. So question, why do you believe that just because I'm physically in Arizona, a written instrument called the Constitution applies to me? And you'll notice real fast, and when you do this in court, or you're doing it out of court, when you're administrative, or you're just making a call, you're going to a city council meeting, you're going to notice real fast that you're not going to be able to say, give any logical reason why, and you're not going to be able to give any evidence. And that's exactly why they fight us so hard in court on a cross-examination, by making things up that when you ask the police officer or the tax agent for the facts that they relied on to support the claims that they're making against you, the claim that their laws apply to you, what facts did they rely on for their claim? They will lie, and they will say that that calls for legal conclusion and that they can't testify in answer to that. And that is bull. For reasons why I've discussed here ad nauseum. But it comes down to critical analysis of the claim without any regard to any preconceived notions, because I know it's difficult to challenge a core belief. I've done it myself. I've done it here live on the show. I get that. But being an adult includes addressing these issues, why we believe what we believe. What's the epistemology, I think, is what we're looking at here. How did you form this belief? Why do you believe X equals Y? And it's so important, because if you're going into court, my gosh, when you're going into court, if you don't have that much time anyway, you've got to have a razor sharp focus, and you have to be looking at what is going to be effective and doing what's effective in a short period of time. And this garbage that just will not stop rearing its ugly head, this Freeman stuff. No merit. If you think it has merit, you've got to now analyze it, and you've got to look for the evidence. If somebody's doing that, why do they believe that the Treasury account is created in the old cap's name, and where is the damn proof? Would you accept from them, oh, it's the law? No, you want the proof. Saying it's the law is not proof. I'm Mark Stevens. It's been a pleasure discussing these issues with everyone today. Appreciate the calls. I will be live on the Wednesday broadcast, commercial free, on my YouTube channel. So till then, salud.